Now, the VIX correctly predicted that we were going to get a rally either Monday or Tuesday. We got it yesterday. We built upon it today. And again, it's likely a counter trend. We're probably going to get one more push down. It's an April Fool's fake out in all likelihood. We're going to get another fake out, another push down, and to create the illusion. I think the rally is creating the illusion. We're getting the rally, so it will create this illusion of this massive collapse is about to happen. I'll show you on the charts what I mean in a second. But we had the Dow pretty much flat, down 12 points. S&P was up 21. We didn't close at the highs. We gave back the rally. I told you yesterday we still may rally up. I think that you have likely a wave 4 here. I'll show you the Elliott wave count. But we were up 0.38%, up 21 points. The NASDAQ was up 0.87. Again, we had a better rally, but we gave it back. NASDAQ up 150 points. Russell was pretty much flat like the Dow. And the VIX, which predicted the rally that we've had the last 2 days, the VIX was down 2.89%. The media is just going crazy. I mean, these people, the way they're talking like we're going into a depression. We are going to have a recession, but the recession indicators flashed long before Trump's tariffs, long before Trump even won the election. I told you again in 2024 that we could see volatility surrounding the tariffs because, again, Wall Street loves Trump's economic policies. They hate his tariffs. Seeing all these, articles out of the media, Trump's taking a risk with the economy. We're all going to put Trump off a cliff. Again, the tariffs are likely already priced in the market, and we're carving out a bottom. These people in the media cheerlead for the economy to collapse. Now, again, we're going to have a recession. We could have already had a recession, but the economy was artificially propped up with massive government deficit spending. So as I think the S&P is getting the final push down, in all likelihood, I think it will complete that last leg lower to complete the diversions on the RSI. I think we'll get that this week, and I think we'll bottom out in all likelihood this week. I think you got a good shot of it. We didn't do so already on Monday. The S&P is pushing to new lows. The VIX is not pushing to new highs. We did get that hammer on the S&P. So again, it is possible we have a bottom. And again, rather than counting this as a 4 and then we get a 5 right here, all I'm saying is that maybe we have a 1, 2, and maybe a 3, 4, and a 5 like that. My guess is we're going to get another push down. I think this is likely 4. But as the S&P is pushing down, VIX is now pushing to new highs. Today, the S&P made a new low. The VIX did not make a new high. It got a black candlestick. So again, it is possible that we do have a bottom in with that, and that's what I'm saying. I'm open-minded to it, but my guess is that we're going to get one more push down, and that will be the 5-leg push lower, but then I think we're going to bottom out. And again, I think we're getting an April Fool's rally as a fake out. I think we'll get another push down as a fake out, and then we'll get the bottom, and we'll get the real rally. There's an attempt, big money, to create confusion of which way prices are going to go, but we're likely going to bottom out and get a massive rally. I see a boatload of short covering, and that happens. I think that's likely going to be the case. But again, the VIX often tops before the S&P bottoms, and we saw that same thing over here. S&P bottomed over here, and the VIX did make a lower high. It's very, very common. Support the channel with the link directly below that allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like the indicators, please take a moment to do that. I just put it all out there. Just ask that you do what you can to help out. So please consider helping out today. I thank you for your consideration for that. I showed you this chart yesterday, cleaned it up a little bit for you so you can just see. But again, right here, we got the 25% tariffs on steel. And 10% on aluminum. We got the tariffs right here. We got the previous tariffs over here on solar panels and washing machines. And then we had the announcement right here of tariffs were coming on China. Get bottomed with the tariffs. Again, markets usually bottom on bad news. That's often the case. So we have the tariffs starting right here. We had the China tariffs announced here, and the market bottomed a few days later, April 2nd, which is tomorrow. In 2018, we bottomed on April 2nd. We got that higher low. Wouldn't be surprised. It bottomed this week, April 2nd or 3rd, or later in the week with Powell there. We had the tariffs announced, and we bottomed a couple of days later. again, the start of the tariffs marked the bottom. I say it very well could be we have sell the rumor and buy the news event. Market could just easily shrug it off, or again, we could see Trump, immediately pause the tariffs if we see concessions from countries or out of Europe. The media wants us to believe that Trump's going to impose these tariffs and we're going to get retaliations and negotiations are going to happen and nothing, it's just going to be that way and we're all going to die. That's what the media wants us to believe. They're doing their best to try to create fear to make it happen. Now, again, we're eventually going to get a recession, but we're probably going to get one more push higher in the market like we had in 2018. Now, 2018, 12% drop, ended up going back up, making new highs. We rallied up 15.30% off of the higher low, more than that off of the 12% low. After the tariffs, we rallied 15.30%. If we take it from the bottom over here, from the first announcement of tariffs and the start of the tariffs for washing machines and solar panels, again, from the 12% low, we rallied up over 16%. I think we're going to new highs. I think it's going to be the same thing we had here. I think this is a blueprint for what we're going to see happen. I think you're going to end up getting a bottom. I think you're going to end up rallying over the next few months. Now, this took April until the beginning of September. Maybe we see that. Maybe it drags out into the summer or goes on into, April, May in a couple of months. Could drag out on into the summer months, though. This is what I think is going to happen. And that was followed by, again, a 20% crash. You're going to see something very similar to this happen. Way down here is where the Fed caved on the rate-raising campaign. We'll end up seeing the Fed cave on rate cuts when we get the next 20% crash. We're being told that's going to happen right now. I don't think so. I think you're bottoming. I think we go make new highs. Bearish scenario, we make a lower high. My guess is we have the bullish scenario. I've said that, but I'm showing you an alternative narrative if the S&P can't make new highs. But I think you're going to bottom, and I think you're going to get a massive rally. This rally wasn't supposed to happen, and it did. And again, the conventional wisdom is we're going to crash over, and we're likely bottoming. S&P is rallying back up again. The VIX predicted this rally. And on Friday, it predicted this rally. It was correct. We got this rally. We sold off there on Monday. We closed higher, and we closed higher today. Now we're coming up to the moving averages. We're coming up to the momentum cloud. Again, this is probably wave 4. We're probably going to get one more push down for wave 5. And I think that you're going to move to this 5406 to 5450 area, which again, this is key horizontal support from the September low right here. And this is where I think we're likely headed. Now, I think we're getting the rally to make it seem more dramatic. We're actually just going to undercut the low that we had on Monday just a little bit. But I think that we're getting the rally because it's going to create the illusion that we're about to get this crash if we get the sell-off. What would be funny is if we got a rally rather than a sell-off and we ended up having already bottomed. I talked about that possibility yesterday. That very well could be a bottom. I think we're going to get another push down because I do think it's a 5-leg push lower. But then I think you're going to bottom. It'd be funny if we rallied with the tariffs. I think you're going to get a push down and maybe a gap lower. Maybe you get this big, ugly move. Trump's Liberation Day tomorrow, and then with the retaliatory tariffs, Mexico's expected to do them on the 3rd. These other countries might do it immediately, and then everybody is going to play it up, running around with their hair on fire, trying to, media's going to try to work everybody up into a tizzy where they become emotionally confused and emotional. Are going to be all over the social media saying, here's the crash, here it comes, and we're going to bottom. That's what's going to happen. Complete the diversions on the RSI. We'll complete the diversions on the MACD down here. We'll complete the diversions on the Awesome Oscillator. Likely a key support right here, probably in this low to mid 5400 area. I think you're probably going to hold above 5420. I think that if we get another push down, I think you're going to probably be bottom between 5420 Oops, sorry about that. Lost it for a second there. I think you're going to bottom between 54.20, 54.40, somewhere in there, maybe 54.35, something like that. I think you're going to come down here. These lows right here, I've excluded the shadow, could be pointing to the next low, pointing right to our horizontal support area. Key support there. Just below that, you have the VWAP support going all the way back to the 2023 low. So again, I think you're going to end up completing a divergence. Now, wouldn't it be funny if we've already bottomed? And I think that's still possible, but my guess is we haven't, but I'm open-minded to it. Wouldn't it be funny if we just saw this massive rally and got back above the 200 period? I mean, got this massive rally surrounding the tariffs. I think is what's going to happen is you're going to see this drop. Maybe you get a gap and trap, you drop down, or you just get this massive sell-off and you get a bottoming tail or something like that. Maybe we open and we just see the market move into free fall and we get a bottoming tail. But again, I think it's highly probable we are about to bottom. I think you're going to rally up towards the 50-day moving average here. I don't think it's going to cross the 200. I think you're going to bottom out, and I think you're going to get a massive, massive rally that's going to give us, a huge recovery very, very quickly. Institutions are going to be buying down here. Eventually, you're going to see the bears coming out and telling us when we get the rally back up, counter trend, and they're telling us right now there's no possible way it's going to happen. They're telling us we're about to have a collapse right now. When that doesn't happen, which I don't believe it will, then we're going to rally back up. I think you're going to bottom. Then they're going to tell us back up here, counter trend rally, counter trend rally. They're telling us it's not going to happen right now. The bears will be proven wrong about that, and I think that when we come up here, we'll stall at the 50, the 100 like we did in 2000, 2007, turn back down, test the 200, and then I think we're going to blow past these moving averages and go up and make new highs. I think you're about to complete the diversions here with one more push down. Remember, we did not close on Monday below this low right here. We did not close below it. So the RSI doesn't look at the shadow. So the divergence in the mind of the RSI, if you will, it's not complete. Right now it's a confirmation of a higher low. So I think you're going to push down and get the diversions, probably get a close below this level. You may not, but again, that's what I think is likely going to be the case. And I think we'll complete the intermediate wave 4. I think you'll start intermediate wave 5 and a 5-leg push higher. And I think you're going to new highs. And again, that takes us into April and May. It could drag out on into the summer, as I've said. I want to show you this push down right here, why I think it's a 5-leg push lower. Here's a 60-minute chart. I told you we got that bullish cross with this rebound back up for Monday, and I told you again we could see a divergence form in this most recent price action here on the 60-minute chart. Could see it develop right here on the RSI. But I told you we could rise up to this 50 area on the RSI, the MACD could turn back up, and we could end up still turning back down and get a divergence. I think that's going to be likely the case because I think that we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I think we're getting 5, and I think it's unfolding in 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think we push down for one more time, and I think we get the 5. It better not lose the 5400 area because if we do, we're losing some major support there. Weekly time frame, in the daily time frame. So I think it's more likely we're in a bottoming process. I think we're going to bottom out, and I think we're going to rally back up and get above the 50 here, and I think the 50 will get back above the 200. I think that, again, the 50 is going to diverge with the, and it already is, with the S&P 500. We're moving to a new low, but yet the 50 period is not. Okay, and I think that the divergence is going to be that that thing that marks a bottom with the S&P 500. S&P, again, we've already moved to new lows. I think it's probably not done yet. I think we come in here, and then I think that we get that fifth and final wave, and I think we bottom out, and I think the 50 period will get a higher low here, but then I think it will turn back up and get a bullish cross above the 200 period moving average, and I think we're going to get a powerful rally. And again, have the volatility with Trump's Liberation Day, and then we bottom out. Maybe we gap down or get a bottoming tail. Maybe we bottom with some retaliations happening with Mexico or Canada or Europe or whatever. I think you're about to bottom, and I think you're going to get a massive rally. Now, again, it could be, as I've said, it could be we have a bottom. My guess from Monday's low, I don't think so, though. I think you get one more push down. It does look like a 5-leg push lower to me. But I keep saying this does look corrective. This A, this B, C, this looks corrective. And that's why I believe we're going to go to new highs. I think we're going to top. On here, again, the herd is extremely bearish. Sentiment is extremely bearish here. We've had fear or extreme fear. Bears are down here. Back over here, telling us, when I told you we were going to rally back up to the 200 in the daily, we did. We're saying no possible way we're going to rally, and yet we did. And now they're saying the same thing. And I think we're in a bottoming process, and I think it's about to complete. I wouldn't be surprised to see a divergence here. We don't have to, but it looks like a 5-leg push here. I can get a 5-leg push out of this first leg down. I can get a 5-leg push out of this wave 3. It's likely we're going to get this 5-leg push. Create the illusion of the crash, and I think that's why we're getting the rally. We've turned down and we've rallied 2 days ahead of Trump's Liberation Day, the tariffs, the start of the tariffs, the rollout of the tariffs. I think it's that we get a more dramatic drop, just like I think this is an April Fool's fake out. I think the fake out to the downside, and I think it will complete the bottom. And the real move is going to be up. Fake out up, fake out down, and then you get your bottom. But I think it's creating the illusion of a bigger drop because we've rallied now. We've had the drop on Monday. We recovered. Sigh of relief. We build upon that today, and I think we're going to go take out Monday's low and bottom and go just a little bit lower than that. So again, we could see a drop from today's high, 3.5%, 3.75% to create this illusion that the crash is starting, and then it's over. Tariff crash is canceled. This massive rally. I think we're about to move big time. Just remember, there's key support in here, these 5 waves, and I want to show you. I want to show you this chart of the S&P. I showed you this previously. We're at this major support at the September low, and again, I think you're going to go a little bit lower and hit this level. Right below that, you have the VWAP support from the 2023 low. I don't think we're going below that area. I don't think we're going to hold below 5,400. I think that you're going to likely bottom in the low 400 area. I think the rally is coming up here, and you're going to come back down into this area bottom. So far, we've dropped 10.70%, and the media is trying to convince us that we've now entered a depression. I mean, that's how much they're trying to talk the market down. Absolutely incredible. Yes, we're going to have a recession. Yes, it's going to be bad. Coming, and I think this is a preview of coming attractions right here. We're going to end up rallying, bottoming out, and rallying back up to the VWAP support up here. We stalled at the one from the February high. I think eventually we'll get above that and go to these other VWAP levels from these other peaks over here in December and January, and the lows over here at those times. It's going to take us towards the 50-period moving average. So again, I think you're going to end up trying to bottom in this area. The rally is to create a larger illusion that if we do drop, guesses we're going to. But again, like I said, it's possible we have a bottom, but and I'm open-minded of that, but I think you're going to get another push down for a 5-leg push down. It's going to create the illusion of a crash. They're super excited. And then we're going to begin to move in the opposite direction. Here at the support area, I think we're going to move to the lower Bollinger Band in the daily time frame, and I think you're going to take it out, and I think you're going to see a bottom develop there. Could see a bottoming tail. You could gap lower and get a gap and trap and begin to move in the other direction. We could sell off over a day or 2 or 3. Again, it was like a few days after the rollout of the tariffs in 2018 that happened a few days later. Bottom with Powell by Friday, but again, looking for that divergence to form on the daily chart, on the RSI, as well as on the 60-minute chart. And I think that that's going to do it to form down here at the support level, horizontal support. Now, I think we're going to hit the horizontal support, and I think we're going to push down below this lower Bollinger Band right here. And again, I think we're getting the rally, and I think it's a fake out, an April Fool's rally. I think we're about to have massive fake out with the tariffs because I think that they're going to create a bottom, not a crash. It's already priced in, and I think it is the rumor by the news event. I think we're going to push below the lower band here. I think you're going to push below this area again and finish the divergence on the RSI and the MACD in all likelihood. It's still possible that we bottomed on Monday. That is still possible. Do not rule that out. But I think it's more likely we get another push if we have that 5-leg push lower. Let's try to turn back to bullish here. It failed. You're likely going to complete a divergence, push below the lower band here. More time. We did that on Monday. I think you're going to do it again. Wait, this time I think it's going to be a bottom at the key support area that I'm looking at. I want you to listen to me very carefully. We dropped down to 54.88 right there, 54.88. Okay, right below that is the support area. We've rallied back up from 54.88 all the way back up to the intraday high today at 56.50. So we've rallied up 162 points. I think it's going to, again, I think we're getting a fake out rally to create the illusion of a bigger crash move. I think we're just going to go and undercut that low a little bit under 54.88. Rallied 162 points. So I think from today's intraday high, you can get a 3.5, 3.75, 4% drop. You get a 4% drop from today's intraday high. Where do you end up at? At horizontal support at that low 5,400 area, just slightly under 54.88. So I think it's just, the rally is being done. It looks more dramatic. I think the institutions are going to end up doing a fake out here. I think this is a fake out rally. I think we get a fake out push lower, and then I think you get a massive rally up here, and it'll probably be either on Liberation Day or right after it as we move into retaliatory tariffs. And again, these countries are going to cave. That's what the media fails to look at. Trump doing this, because he loves tariffs and he wants to destroy the economy. Look, he's doing it to level the playing field, to bring people to the negotiating table, get other countries to lower their high tariffs. It tells us every time it's not going to work, and then retaliatory tariffs from a country, and then they cave. That's what we continue to see over and over. Again, you got to be pretty ignorant if you don't think Europe's going to come to the negotiating table. They've already prepared a set of concessions. On that out on Friday. And I think you undercut the Bollinger Band. I think you come back to the horizontal support, and I think you bottom. Maybe that happens in one day with Trump's Liberation Day, and it marks the bottom with a bottoming tail or a gap down. You get a gap and trap. Maybe it's over a couple of days. We'll see how it plays out, but I think you are forming a bottom. I think Trump's tariffs are the biggest fake out that we're going to get all year long. I think we'll get another big fake out when we get the rally up to new highs. Then I think a top will form. If this is going to end, we got to see my signals all begin to turn back to bullish here. Things have been very bearish. Tried to see momentum flip, couldn't flip the trend. We reaffirmed bearish signals, drop back below the 200 period again. I think you're going to bottom here and then get back above that 200 period moving average. I think you're going to get a massive, powerful rally. Right after Trump announces the tariffs, we get all the retaliatory tariffs, and then we see Europe immediately cave and their concessions. We see them come to the negotiating table to resolve this. Market gets this massive rally of hope. That's likely going to be the case. And I think that we're forming these divergences on indicators. It's probably not done yet. Probably get one more push down, but I think you're forming these divergences here intraday. I think the divergence is likely going to finish this week, maybe by tomorrow with Trump's Liberation Day, or third with some retaliatory tariffs. Maybe we get those immediately, or on the 3rd. We got Powell on Friday. So again, I think you're going to see this complete. Could see more bullish signals like we did at this low right here. Could see more bullish signals develop here. Should we get another push down, and then we'll see if we can flip everything back to bullish. And once we bottom, I think you're going to get a rally back up towards the trend line right here. This is our linear scaling. We have a broken trend line with the linear and the log. I think we're going to rally back up towards the 50-period moving average, prevent a death cross. And again, as we rally back up, the people telling us right now, the bears are telling us no possible way we're going to rally, just like they did when we rallied back up to the 200. I told you we were going to rally up to the 200. The bears told us no way. But then they're going to start yelling counter trend rally after the tariff crash that they're telling us is going to happen doesn't happen. So, 10% correction, 10.70 correction so far. Again, maybe we go down 11% or 12% or something. But we go that low because, again, you better have this 5,400 area hold as you start doing some major technical damage. And the S&P is likely doing what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin moved to a new low under the 200 period moving average. I talked about that at great length and detail. Bitcoin's not moving to a new low right now. It's likely already bottomed back on March 11th. I think we're going to bottom in this area, and then I think we're going to rally up to new highs up into this upper channel that I've talked about. Again, I think you're going to see that happen in the coming months ahead here, maybe quickly, maybe a little bit longer if we take our time reaching the trend line, but I think you're going to bounce off this cloud area here and horizontal support here in the weekly time frame. In our 50-week, again, just like at the 2023 low, we breached the 50-week, then we got back above it, holding above the cloud right here. The RSI is going to come back up here, and I think you're going to see this larger divergence, very, very similar to what we had in 2001, where you get another reference point of a divergence, and then that will mark the top. I think we're going to come up here over the next couple of months. Maybe it drags out and something like that or something quicker, and then I think you're going to get this collapse back to this trend line right here. 2018, I think you're going to rally to new highs. Same thing in 2000, same thing in 2007 with the topping process, but then you come back and you get your 20% crash. That's when the Fed panics, and I think that's coming. I think you'll see in the latter half of this year, I think you will see the market or a recession, the U.S. move into recession. We'll get a global recession. All the nerves are going to get calm. All the negativity is going to go away if we start to shoot up higher in the market. The MACD is going to firm up here. We're just under the center line here at the 2023 low. We firmed up just above it. We bottomed out with the divergence in 2022. I think you're going to firm up right here, and I think you're going to turn back up and get that final phase of the blow-off top. Now, we have breached this trend line on the NASDAQ. Let me just mark this. It's a NASDAQ weekly chart. This is our linear scaling. We've breached this blue trend line, and we've taken out the 50-week moving average. But if you connect the dots from the low we have right here, or maybe we go a little bit lower, bottoming tail or something, although NASDAQ and S&P could diverge from one another as well. That's certainly possible. At bottoms and tops, they often do. But again, if you draw a parallel trend line from this upper boundary here to this low here to this low here, you have a beautiful channel. So again, could we be bottoming? Trend lines change all the time. Channels expand all the time. Could we be seeing the sell-off to expand the channel and then we go back up? And again, it's still possible we go back up and they diverge from one another, the S&P and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ doesn't make a new high and S&P does, or vice versa. Certainly possible, but again, could we be breaking this trend line in order to, again, establish and expand the channel, establish a new boundary? It's very possible, because I think you're going to end up turning back up here and getting one more push higher. And I think it's going to be, again, the final phase of the blow-off top is usually the most powerful. This is like a preview of coming attractions. Going to go higher, and it's going to lull everybody into a false sense of security. Oh, it's over, it's over, it's not going to happen. It didn't happen then, so it's not going to happen the next time. And again, your rug pull, and then you get your real collapse in the market. It happened in 2000. That's the way it happened in 2007. That's the way it happened in 2018 before the 20% crash. Preview of coming attractions, you dropped 12%, you rallied up, the fake out move, and then you got the big crash after that. Here, I think we could firm up on the MACD, but look at the stochastic. This is interesting. The RSI has not been below 50 for this long. I think we're establishing this channel, but look at these other lows. Again, you dipped here to it, you dipped here to it, you dipped here to it, and then the last time we were longest period below 50 was back over here at the 2023 low. And again, what did we do at the 2023 low? We broke a trend line, and we got a new trend line. What are we doing here? We broke a trend line, possibly getting a new trend line. Trend lines change all the time. Trend lines change all the time. Channels expand all the time. If we get back above the 50 level here, back above the 50 here in this broken trend line, then again, you're getting back above the 50-week moving average. You get back above the 200-day moving average. Then again, it's likely going to reaffirm a bullish 50-50 signal, getting back above the 50, getting back above the 50 on the RSI. You know, could we be expanding the channel? I think that's very, very likely. Let me just adjust this. My trend line moved on me ever so slightly. This program, it does that. But even if we take out this level, do we get a bottoming tail? You know, does NASDAQ not move to a new low? We'll be watching. Remember, NASDAQ got that hollow red candlestick on Monday. So again, right below that, we have our 400 period moving average. Again, you've got the support in here from September. As I've talked about, you've got, just bring it up here, you got all the support in here at the September low, and that's where 400 period moving average is. Again, could this hollow red candlestick just give us a counter trend? We get one more push down, again, like a 5-leg push lower, like for the S&P I've been talking about? Or did the hollow red candlestick give us a bottom? Possibly. This is we're likely going to get another push down, though. And if we do, again, we can complete the diversions on the MACD right here, and diversions on the stochastic, as well as on the RSI. Now, again, it may be we defy logic, and we bottomed on Monday and we rally. I think the S&P is likely going to get that one more push down, so NASDAQ probably will too. They do diverge from one another at times at bottom, so we'll be watching closely. They don't always do that, but sometimes they do. They did both top together on February 19th. Back down here to the Fed gap fill. The gap fill from the Fed pivot there. So again, just like the S&P, directly below, just undercutting the slope just a little bit. We have some major support. Did we get a rally to make the drop? Trump's tariff, his Liberation Day, make it seem more dramatic? I think that's probably going to be the case. 50 still above the 200 here, 100 period up here. I think you're going to get a breathtaking rally back up. Maybe if we bottomed, it's already starting. I think you're probably going to get another push down and then rebound back up. But I'm open-minded to the Monday low being a bottom here on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's come back to fill the gap here at the March low, so is the S&P. Again, when they moved on Friday down to new lows, so far that's a gap and trap on an intraday basis. We're still below the 50. We're still below the 200. Again, they're close to each other. We're likely either bottoming on Monday and going to get above those levels or get one more push down and come back up. And again, don't rule out that Monday could be a bottom because we got that hollow red candlestick. Certainly possible, but I think, again, it's more likely we're getting the rally that's going to push down. Regardless of whichever way it plays out, I'm looking for a bottom here on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. We've got the RSI coming back up to the 50 level. I think we're going to see it roll over. I think you're going to get a divergence here, and then I think you're going to get a bottom. In all likelihood, I think you're going to get another push. I think we have a 5-leg push lower here. 1, 2, 3. I think you're getting 4 here, and then I think you're going to get 5. And again, cutting this low just a little bit, rally will make the sell-off seem more dramatic. NASDAQ 60-minute chart. And then I think we come back up, filling these gaps up here, end up getting back above the 200 period moving average, start moving towards the 50, get back above the 200 period in the daily time frame, moving back towards the 50 in the daily time frame, as I've talked about.